All right. See where we are here. Make sure we get the gauges right. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hang on. Let's make sure we are up and running on every platform before I give my salutations here. Let's get going, man. It's afternoon edition, lunchtime live. Let's go. All right, let's make sure this is up and running. We got to get Facebook up and running here, man. Come on, man. Okay, I think Facebook is ready. Is Instagram ready? Let's go. Make sure Instagram is ready, man. We got to be on every platform. Okay. All right, I think we're ready here, man. All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Friday afternoon. Okay. Lunchtime edition. Ready here, man. Oh, all right. KFTV's we go. Fan Fridays. Had to go put my Instagram live. Another edition of KFTV Fan Fridays, man. CP the franchise here. Hope everybody is doing well on the lunchtime live. You know what? No Knicks basketball today. So I just had to, get my Knicks fix in. So I said, what better way to get my Knicks fix in than to tap in with the family, to tap in with the fan base, and make something happen, man. Be the change you seek in the world. So this is what we're gonna do, man. Lunchtime live. Let's tap in with the family. Keep it an open forum, fan Q&A. I do have a program here as I usually do. We do have some things to talk about. But this is going to be your show, man. So call us up, 657-383-1509, or hit us up on the KFTV Discord. And whatever you guys want to talk about, we're going to talk about. Salute to IG, man. I'm back live on IG. I haven't been live on Instagram in quite some time. So, yeah, man, good to be on Instagram. This is one of those days I'm kind of just testing out the content, testing out a couple of things and see what's rocking. So salute to everybody on IG as well. And of course on the YouTube side, salute to the franchise channel members in the building. Salute to everybody on the lunchtime grind, man. So let's tap into this. Knicks 9-6 right now on the road. They got a 5 p.m. Eastern time tip-off against the Utah Jazz. And look, that should be another win, man. Knicks should be 10-6. As they look towards heading to Denver on Monday. But there's a lot of things that we got to like about this team right now. Let's talk about the positives, because there are some negatives, and we're going to talk about how we're going to fix that. But on the positive side, you're seeing the offense come together, man. They are sticking like glue. The chemistry that this 5-out offense is producing, especially amongst the starting five, second best starting five according to offensive rating, the number 2 offense in the league. You've seen a ton of good things from the star players leading the way. Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns doing the damn thing. What was the stat that came out of that Phoenix game? The first guard and center duo since Shaq and Kobe who will likely average 25 points per game on the season. So look, that's a positive sign. Obviously, with Towns, you can expect him to be representing the Knicks in San Francisco at the All-Star game, and we'll talk about some of that All-Star game stuff if you guys care about that. NBA looking to make some changes there. But Towns is without question having a fantastic season so far for the Orange and Blue and leading the way. The shooting ability, passing ability, showing leadership. And he's getting more and more comfortable. That was one thing with Towns. Like, he really didn't have a big adjustment period when he got here. He really got here and just fit right in. And so, a lot of you guys in the beginning were tight about the trade. It's tough to see Julius go. It was tough for me to see Julius go. I wanted to see Julius, lead this team. It's tough to see DiVincenzo go, for me especially. But with Towns here, you're starting to see the fit offensively and the vision that Leon Rose and Tibbs and the front office, the vision that they have for this team. So offensively, it's looking good. And, a byproduct of this 5-out system, you're seeing other guys have success as well. Jalen Brunson, playmaking, career high in assists right now. I think Jalen Brunson is at about 7.9 assists on the year, on this early year. So Jalen Brunson is starting to adjust to having more talent offensively on this team. He's at 7.3 assists right now per game is Jalen Brunson. 25 points per game and the 7.3 assists. So shout out to the captain, Jalen Brunson. He's looking good right now. OG, we've talked about OG Anunoby and his offensive prowess so far. I mean, the dog is looking fantastic. The cutting, between Brunson and Towns, finding OG cutting. The dunks. One of the leaders in dunks in the NBA right now. Super efficient basketball from OG Anunoby, whether it's in the restricted area or from three. Now, put that stat out there that OG Anunoby, he's averaging, I think, 41% above the break. Corner threes was his thing, but now above the break, he's starting to splash the nets. He's starting to be not just a catch and shoot three-point shooter. He's starting to get his pull-up game popping. So that is definitely a positive on the offensive side. NY State of Mind on the IG says long time coming. No question about it. Long time coming. That is why I say the title of the show is the Knicks 360, because offensively, this is different than what we're used to with Tom Thibodeau-led teams. So OG, his shooting efficiency. If we take a look at, and salute to everybody in the chat once again, Lunchtime Live, call us up 657-383-1509, or you could hit us up in the KFTV Discord. The Knicks, they're fifth in points per game, ninth in points in the paint, ninth in assists. That was an area where they were a basement dweller under Tom Thibodeau since he's been here. They've never been a good team from any passing statistical category. So you're seeing the fruits of the offense. Number 2 in three-point percentage. Shooting percentage, number 2. Shooting efficiency, number 2. Field goals per game. This team can sleepwalk into offense. Now, the concern? The defense. The defense is without question a concern, where they're ranked number 20, the 22nd ranked defense in the league. That is not a Thibodeau team. So what we're seeing is, when we talk about that 360, 180 rather, it should be 180. This team, the identity of this team is on the offensive side. You're seeing individual playmaking on the defensive side, and you see that it has improved. The defense has improved, but it's not consistent. And you're seeing good individual effort from OG Anunoby, of course, who's having an all-defense type year. Bridges is improving. Hart does his thing. But they've got to tighten up there. Because a true contending team, if you're going to be a true contending team, you're going to have to defend at a higher level. There's just no other way around it. You're going to have to defend at a higher level. And this was a good graphic here from the New York Post that shows the last 10 years, only one NBA finalist has ranked worse than 22nd in defense. Last 10 years. And that was the Cleveland Cavaliers at 2017, 2018. When you got LeBron James, you got Kyrie Irving, you could afford to do that. Freaky Frankie Friday, where'd you get that hat from? Shop.KnicksFanTV.com, man. This is a KFTV New York versus the world snap, man. New era joints, man. Get your KFTV snaps at shop.KnicksFanTV.com. So, you're looking at this graphic. Last year's Celtics, second in the NBA defense. Mavericks, 18th, and it showed. All right, Nuggets beat the Heat. The Nuggets were 15th the year they won it, but they had a prolific offense. Ran by the Joker. Celtics Warriors second, Celtics first that year, 21-22. The point is, to be a true contender, you gotta be close to top 10 in both offense and defense. You know, a lot was made about the Celtics in their championship run about how prolific their offense was. But in order to have a league record or near record net rating, which the Celtics did have, I believe they're like top 5 in the history of the NBA in their net rating, maybe top 2. You gotta play defense at a championship level. There's levels to this thing. So for the Knicks, they've got to find somewhere, somehow, to get closer to the middle or better defensively. Because you got to lock up. That's one thing that Boston can do. That is the problem why Boston is so tough to beat. I know the Cavs, have the record and all that, but this is Boston's thing to lose. Right? This is Boston's thing to lose. So the thing about them is that they can lock up with Boston. Boston is doing all this right now. They don't even have Porzingis back, who is their true rim protector. But around the perimeter, they can lock up between Holiday, White, Tatum, Brown, Pritchard's D'ing up. And then the problem with Boston is once they force you to do something stupid, once they force you into a turnover, force you into a long three that produces a long rebound, they're off to the races. And guess what they're doing on the other side? Bombing threes. Bombing threes. What are they averaging? 60 threes a game? That's why they're so tough to beat. It's a numbers game with Boston. Once they get you to make that mistake and you lose a turnover or you got wasted possessions, they're down on the other end hoisting up threes. And it becomes demoralizing. Just look no further than what Cleveland had to go through earlier this week on Tuesday night in their matchup. Let him in 3. Peace. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. So, defense is going to be key here. The offense, don't worry about it. We're good. We got so many different ways to beat you. It is beautiful basketball to see what the Knicks are doing on the offensive side. Defensively, got to see how they can tighten up there. Now, that is what makes, to me, the return of Mitchell Robinson so key for this team. And we're not looking for Mitch to be a savior here by any means. But I do believe his return is important. And a lot of you guys have called in with questions about Mitch. Should they trade him? Should they start him next to Cat? I don't think the Knicks intend to start Mitch when he comes back for 2 reasons. Number one, they got to let him ramp up. Let him get back up to speed in due time. Be patient with it. He's a guy who's so fragile. Any sudden movements, any bad falls, he's out of there again. So they got to make sure that he can last through April and beyond because that's when he's really going to be needed. But additionally, I do believe that they want to see this 5-out system through and succeed because they believe in the offensive advantages that it produces. And that is true. The opportunity, though, with Mitchell Robinson in bringing him back is the options that it gives you to play bigger alongside Karl-Anthony Towns. Helps you on the boards, of course. Helps you just become more stout as it relates to protecting the paint. So to have that look with Mitchell Robinson there next to Karl-Anthony Towns, I think it's going to benefit the Knicks greatly. I think Precious Achiuwa's return is also going to benefit the Knicks, as is having another guy who's versatile, can cover some 4s, some 5s, maybe some 3s. You need that. And the report from the team is that Precious Achiuwa is going to be practicing with them on this West Coast trip. Maybe we see him tomorrow in Utah, but maybe it's Denver, maybe it's Dallas. Get Precious back. So I think that will make a bit of a difference. And this was our guy. Shout out to our guy Ian Begley. This is our guy Ian Begley on the putback with Ian Begley. speaking on Mitchell Robinson and his future with the team. Let's hear it out, and we'll react to it on the other side. So to everybody in the chat, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Here we go.
So I thought maybe over the summer, I mean, we all kind of knew it. We were talking about it. He was available in trades, right? I'm not saying the Knicks were like looking to get off of him, but his name came up in several discussions, including in the Karl Towns discussions, and so he was gettable, and so I thought maybe coming into this season that would be the case too. Maybe we'd still be talking about Walker Kessler or Nick Richards or them, dealing for a backup center. But I think that there's been a little bit of a sea change. You can never say the Knicks uniformly think X, Y, Z because there's many decision makers there. But I think there's some people of influence who see Mitchell Robinson now as an integral part of this roster if he can come back and be healthy, because there's been defensive issues so far that we talked about earlier. Robinson, obviously one of the best rim protectors and best offensive rebounders in the league when he's healthy. So I think, some people of influence over there see him as somebody they need, somebody they're going to need, and the appetite to move him is certainly not what it was over the summer. So I just find that interesting as we continue apace early on this season with the Knicks over the summer.
All right, shout out our guy Ian Begley. You could catch Ian on SNY doing great work, man, for us in covering this team. And as he says, there's a lot of people in the organization that are not in a rush to move on from Mitch. And I believe that, because this team is hurting so much from the depth perspective. You have to see what Mitch can do with this defense and how much he can help this team. Then, you go into the offseason after things shake out this season, see where you are. He is one of their more tradable assets, at least from a salary standpoint. But you can't worry about that right now. You got to look at him as a much-needed piece to this rotation and to help this team defensively. And, when Mitchell Robinson is on, let's not forget what he can bring to this team. I know a lot of people, Huckamania is real, and shout out to Huck Porty Hive and, Precious and Sims and all of that. But Mitch is Mitch at the end of the day. Mitch is Mitch. So they definitely going to need him to help them out as they get through this season. But nevertheless, hey, squad is doing a damn thing. 4 wins in a row. Should be able to get one in Utah. That's 5 in a row. You go up against a Denver team. Playing in Denver is always tough, but a beatable team nonetheless. You might catch a break. Not necessarily a break, because, Dallas is still going to be tough offensively, but I don't think Luka Doncic is going to be available for the Mavs when they play the Knicks. I believe Luka Doncic is going to be nursing a wrist injury, so you catch a break there. So you have a chance to have a successful road trip. Then you go to Charlotte. That's a winnable game. NBA Cup game as the Knicks look to make it to Vegas, 2-0 in the NBA Cup, if you guys so care about that. Mikey G on the Instagram, is Towns the best center in the East? Yes, sir, he is. He is, until further notice. Because I don't know if y'all see what's going on in Philadelphia, but Philadelphia is on fire right now. You got locker room meetings, people snitching. I mean, the full transcript of the locker room meeting came out before they even came out the locker room. Everybody on Twitter knew what was happening. Then you got Paul George doing a podcast. I didn't even listen to the podcast podcast. I don't even care what's really going on with them. But it is not good. For the Knicks, I'll take the defensive concerns and the chemistry concerns. We'll be all right, because our locker room is tight right now. But for Philly, boy, oh boy. And now Embiid talking about we got to catch the rat. They got the wire going on down there. People ratting. They got to catch the rat. They can't get it together. Paul George hurt, but he's going on the podcast. Yo, it's crazy over there, man. Edwards 81. I'm so glad we never pursued PG-13. Yeah, I was never on board with Paul George in any capacity. Even back when the rumors were that the Knicks were trying to trade RJ and them to get Paul George. This was 2 years ago. I said, nah, that's not it. That is not the way. I don't care how good of a shooter he is, and Paul George is one of the best. That's just not the move, man. He's not moving the needle for us. And so that's Daryl Morey and Philadelphia's problem right now. Let's go to the phones, man. We got somebody calling in. Lunchtime Edition Live, KFTV, salute. 646, what's your name? Where you calling in from?
TP with a B, baby. It's your boy Ty Clemens.
Ty.
I'm on vacation. I'm still calling in.
Oh, Ty, you not working today? What you dealing with, man? What you doing on a Friday, man?
Right now, I'm down in Florida chilling, enjoying the waves, just chilling out. But, I got to call and check in, see what's going on.
Flex, a Florida flex, man. How's the weather down there? The Hawk is out in New York today, man. Today's one of them days, man.
Yeah, man, it's nice down here in Miami, bro. It's nice.
Flexing. Go ahead, man. Enjoy it, man.
Let me go into this, right? I told you in the beginning that my guy was OG, but I'm going to have to retract that.
Yeah.
The guy right now is the Loch Ness Monster. We can't give him up.
No.
And we're going to basically take a little bumps in the road, but I'm telling you, I like the way they're doing this. Sit him on the shelf, win a couple of games, lose a couple of games, and then when February comes, we just throw it all in. We get the defensive going, and right before the trade deadline, I wanted to ask you a question on this.
Yeah.
Being that Dante isn't doing that well, do you think we could grab him back?
I got to check the rules. I don't think so, for one, because Knicks don't have any money. that's for one. Okay. And number two, I got to see the rules on that. I'm not sure if they could even they could even just timing wise even pursue that, but money wise it wouldn't work anyway. So that's out the door.
But that's okay. I still love the job that Payne is doing, and when we get Deuce back, the two of them could kind of make up for the difference of the shooting with Dante. Although I wish he could join the team back, because then we'd really be a championship caliber team.
Yeah.
But I changed my take. I'm telling you, the Loch Ness Monster is the answer to us going to the NBA Finals, my brother.
Okay.
And we just got to let him do his thing, come back in February, and we're going to take over. And I think that more or less the Knicks are starting to get the defensive schemes on this three-point thing. And once we get that locked down and get the Loch Ness back, championship, baby. Championship. Let's go. CP.
Ty Clemens on the check-in. He kept calling Mitch the Loch Ness Monster. Bro, we've been calling him Loch Ness Monster since he got here. Mitch been here like 7 years. Ty, come on, man. Well, that's how good of a time Ty is having in Miami, man. You know what I'm saying? Grab me on the beach, sipping a margarita or something. He kept saying the Loch Ness Monster. Ty, it's the Block Ness. Blocks. Basketball. Blocks, Ty. Come on, man. He's a regular caller, Ty. You should know that, man. So to everybody in the chat, man, hit that thumbs up button for your boy. CP the Franchise here. Lunchtime Live. It's tapping in with you guys, man. Hope everybody's doing all right. Whoa, wait a second. Salute. Hang on, man. I got to salute to somebody, man. Somebody's in the shop right now and just made a purchase. Hang on, man. I got to salute to you, man. Okay, shout out to Patrick Conley, my guy. Shout out to Shells. He just copped 2 snaps. Just copped the New York versus the World joint and the KFTV Royal Blue, man. Shout out to my guy Shells, man. Longtime day one supporter of the show. Shout out to Shells, man. Appreciate the support. Salute to everybody in the chat. CP the Franchise rocking with you guys on the Lunchtime Live. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Instagram. We are live on Twitter X. We are live on Facebook. This is what we do, man. I jumped on the live on TikTok, see what was going on there. We haven't really been going live on TikTok. You know what I mean? But yeah, this is just what we're doing on Friday, man. There's no game today. And I had to get my Knicks fix in. So the way I do that is to go live and talk to the people, man. Simple and plain. Go live, talk to the people, man. So whatever you guys want to talk about, let's talk about it. You can call us up, 657-383-1509. Tapping in with the squad. The biggest concern for the Knicks. This was an article by, this was James Edwards, the new Knicks beat writer for The Athletic. The biggest concern, they did an article in The Athletic on the biggest concerns for all 30 teams. And James for the Knicks says, I could go with defense, but I think I'll improve. It'll improve from Mitchell Robinson, which I agree. He says free throws. Knicks are 29th in the NBA's in free throw attempts with 19.1. Says free throws are the big concern. Mikal Bridges only taken 11 free throws this season, despite majority of his shot attempts coming inside the arc. What do you guys think about that? YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, IG, free throws. I think he's absolutely right. For me, that's one of my concerns. And it had been since they put this team together, because I just didn't see, I felt like the team lost guys that not just could get downhill, but could put a lot more pressure on the rim. And just as he said here, the Knicks are ranked 29th in the league in free throw attempts. And they're 28th in the league in free throw attempts per field goals attempted. And my concern when I first saw how they were putting this team together, my concern was that, yes, when it's rolling and guys are going, your two stars are eating, your three-pointers are splashing with OG and Bridges and da-da-da. When it's going good, it's great. Your shots are not always going to fall. You're going to get into a dog fight on the road. Shots ain't falling. There's another team on the other side of the ball. That team is tightening up. What are you going to do then? How are you going to generate easy points? Stop the clock. Get your team a breather. That was my concern. Remember when I had Alan Hahn on the show? I talked to Hahn about that. Like, what are they going to do in crunch time scenarios when they need an easy shot to get to the free throw line? That was my big concern with this team. And right now, they're pretty much dead last in league in terms of free throws attempted. And I think that's something that will present itself and put them in a tough spot later on in the season, playoff time, so on and so forth. So if we look at it here, I'm on last year's team. I'm going to go on this year's team. This is cleaning the glass. Show you how this year's team, in terms of shooting foul draw rate. Salute to everybody in the chat. Let me close this up a little bit here. Take a look at this. Shooting foul draw rate. And you see Mikal Bridges in the third percentile, a 2.4 shooting foul draw rate. Does not get to the free throw line. And that was one thing about Mikal Bridges when he came to the Knicks. He was always like, sort of decent, but not really an attack dog. Like, you need that. Josh Hart, good numbers. Josh Hart has always had good numbers. OG, no. He's in the 51st percentile. Brunson, okay, he's good. Karl-Anthony Towns, pretty good. But after that, you get nothing. Off your bench, you don't have that. McBride's weakness has always been attacking the basket and putting pressure on the rim. So he's in the 25th percentile. Forget about Payne. Forget about Sims. So that's where you get into a little bit of trouble. If we look at last year's team, for example, check out last year's team in foul drawing. Look at the numbers. Brunson was up. Ihart was up in the 91st percentile. Julius, that was one thing with Julius. He could get you to the free throw line. RJ, that was another thing with RJ. He was in the 87th percentile in shooting foul draw rate. Even Mitch was getting fouled. IQ, another guy that was getting you free throws. So I do agree with that. I don't know how they address that, but I do think that is an area where they've gotten weaker in the assembly of this team. So, that all factors into the new identity of this team. Do they have a way of, getting shots where they're putting pressure on the rim to get into the free throw line? I think a lot of that will have to do with Karl-Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, and Josh Hart. Those are the guys that are going to have to do it. Those are guys that are going to have to do it, man. Going to have to play some bully ball. And threes are cute. The threes are hot when they're falling. But that's not going to be the case every night. Let's go to 929. 929, what's your name? Where you calling in from?
Hey, Ace, I'm from Harlem. How you doing, buddy?
Ace, Harlem World. What's good, man? How you feeling, bro?
Everything's great. Just two things. One thing you want to address what you said just now.
Yeah.
In all fairness, fouls are dictated by the refs.
Yes.
And so I do understand the numbers are different, but when we look at it, just looking at the beginning of the season now, Jalen's not getting as many calls as he did last year. Now, I don't know if it's a particular thing that might have been brought up from the other teams and that the refs are paying attention to or whatever, but he's not getting as much as he does. Granted, Dante was going to the rim and I'm quickly and all that, so I do understand that notion. But we have Mikal, who mid-range is as good as getting a free throw right now.
Fair.
So that's where more or less that might even out in that aspect of that. Second thing I just want to mention, a suggestion for the team. According to Tibbs, Sims' percentage of rim protection is one of the highest in the league. My suggestion would be have Mikal go to the bench, start Sims alongside Cat, which would help with the rim protection, but also give Mikal Bridges more prominent role in the scoring position coming off the bench, and then helping us have a wing protector off the bench, as well as have him have more of a scoring role in that situation. Those are two things I wanted to mention. Big fan of the platform. Okay. Spent some time with you during the playoffs last year, so it was a really great thing. But thank you for the time, man.
Yeah, man. Anytime, man. Hopefully we can do that again. Salute to you. Have a great weekend. I don't know if the chat is agreeing with you, man. I'll leave it to the chat. Rate that call in the chat, man. IG, YouTube, right. 1 being trash, 5 being facts. I'm seeing some tomatoes on the IG side, man. Call back anytime. You know what I'm saying? Call back anytime.
Appreciate you, man.
But I don't know if they like that take, man, of starting Sims. I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Aiden Wilson in the chat says Tibbs ain't doing that. Yeah, Tibbs ain't doing that. KG7 Full says 5-star call. I think he's trolling. Respect chat's throwing tomatoes out there. S. Poe on the IG side says, why I want Cat at the 4? Don't work. Yeah, they're not doing that for Sims, man. And then on his point in like the refs not giving us calls, you know, I'm not really one of those guys to just like, I can't put it. Look, yes, on some games, are the Zebras, you know, tough to deal with? Sure. But I just think it's just more a product of the Knicks' identity. It's just who they are. Last year, we look at last year. Let's take a look here. Last year, they were 14th. Now, my man from Harlem World, H said, if you could get buckets, you get efficiency, doesn't really matter. Hey, Celtics were 26 in free throw attempts last year. So, I mean, it's a fair point. But they were at, a league record in terms of efficiency. Let's see, 22-23 season. Knicks were 3rd in the league in free throw attempts. 3rd. So I think it's fair. Where were the Nuggets? They were 24th. Okay. But again, another team who was prolific offensively. So could this Knicks offense be so good that, yes, despite that being a weakness, it doesn't necessarily derail them? Possible. It's certainly possible. But I just think, when you're going up against teams like a Boston whose defense is so good, you're going to run into some obstacles there. But just my 2 cents on that. So, Knicks' biggest weakness. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. TV The Franchise on a Friday. Rocking with you guys, man. Hope you guys are doing well. Do me a favor. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Knicks in Utah on Saturday. Of course, we will be live after the game. We'll be live for play-by-play. So especially you guys on the IG side that haven't seen our Underdog Fantasy play-by-play show hosted by CK2K, we'll be doing that. We'll get a little Underdog Fantasy draft before that. And then we'll have the post-game show after, man. So salute to our sponsors at Underdog Fantasy, man. Get your NBA picks in before tonight's games. Use our code KFTV at underdog.com or use the Underdog app for a bonus cash of up to $1,000 and the free pick. Shout out to our guys at Underdog and salute to everybody who taps in with us on the play-by-play show. 347, what's your name? Where you calling in from? Yo.
Yo, CP, what's good, man? Can you hear me?
Not really, man. Are you on speakerphone? What you got, a headset in? What you doing, man? What you doing, man?
Bluetooth, man.
Yeah,
Bluetooth,
see, man, you in the car with the Bluetooth?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. All right, yeah. When you get a chance, you got to pull over and hit us back, man.
How's this? Is this better?
Yeah, a little bit. Go ahead. Let's just make it. We'll make it. I'll translate for you. Go ahead.
It's Anil Mr. Dunya, or AKA Pun from the Bronx.
Okay.
What's going on, bro?
Good, man. How you feeling, man?
I'm good, man. Shout out to Knicks Nation, KnicksFanTV. Shout out to all the sponsors. Everybody go ahead and like and subscribe as usual.
Yeah.
CP, do me a favor, man. Like, after I do this rapid fire, of course, let us know when the next watch party is.
Okay.
I definitely got to come out and check you for that.
Please do. Please do.
But yeah, I'm gonna keep it rapid fire. I got a lot to say, but I'm just gonna go on the subject at hand right now, which is the free throws, right?
Yeah.
So I agree with the last caller to an extent. JB hasn't been getting much calls as he would have done last year, but JB didn't get much calls last year either. They was dragging him all over the floor. JB's always on the floor, right?
Yeah.
The next thing is go through the list of our starting five that you just did again. Like, everybody excluding OG was decent at drawing fouls, right? I don't want to see OG get fouled or get hacked, bro. I'm already going crazy whenever he touches the floor. Like, I don't want him to get injured. The next aspect of that as well is a week or two ago, we was all talking about how the Knicks need to pick up their three-point attempts, and they're not getting enough three-point attempts. And they've done just that in the last 3 or 4 games, right? We're over, I think, 30 to 40 three-point attempts. We're also picking it up on the assist. The Knicks have picked it up in transition. Their defense may not be where we want to see it, but steals and blocks and off the transition, Josh Hart is always pushing the basketball. So with everything that I just explained, if you're picking up more three-point attempts and taking more three-pointers, which is the game of basketball that we're playing today, right? Like, it's a three-point contest out there at the end of the day, right? And we made all of these changes to play 5 out with Cat. Then statistically, we're not going to get as much free throw attempts because there's nobody drawing fouls that way. And so our free throw attempts will go down naturally if we're taking more three-pointers and we're off the transition. We're getting open looks, etc.
Yeah.
Like you just said, too, like you also said, CP, like, we've definitely picked it. Like, we're able to sleepwalk into 130 points on average right now.
Yeah.
So I agree with the last caller to an extent where it comes to if we're getting open looks and that mid-range jump shot from Mikal is falling like water, then I'd rather get points that way and stop worrying about the free throws. Like,
all right.
You know what I mean?
All right. Appreciate the call, man. Appreciate the call. I'm going to land this plane. He did say he was going to be rapid fire, so, you know. But we get it. What do you guys think, man? Rate that call in the chat. 1 being trash, 5 being facts. He feels like it's a product of the offense, and he may not need to. You may not need to be a top 10 team in free throw attempts. Is he right? Maybe. I just gave you guys statistics. Last year, Celtics were in the 20s last year in free throw attempts. The world champions. And the Nuggets before that, not so high up either. Celtics were 26th. Denver Nuggets were free throw attempts. Let's sort this out. So it's everybody in the chat, man. Denver was 24th. So what do you guys think, man? You guys be the judge. Oh, we got a special guest coming in here. Hang on, man. Special guest. Hang on 1 second here. I got to rearrange the furniture a little bit. We got a special guest on the way, man. IG, hang tight. YouTube, hang tight. Got to do some rearranging here, man. CP the franchise here. Let me get to a call while I get my guest in here. 646. What's your name? Where you calling in from?
Hey, this is Ryan from Brooklyn.
Ryan, how you feeling, man?
Yeah, I just want to keep it quick.
Yeah.
What does everyone think about putting Precious in the starting lineup?
Okay.
That's my question.
Okay.
If we can remove Josh Hart and put him on the bench and get him off the bench for like a spark,
yeah,
I think that it's not going to be that big of a deficit. And, JB does his thing, Cat does his thing. You got your McHale for the three-pointer. You have OG hustling. And then you have Precious doing the same thing and on defense as well. And that way, boom, problem solved. The bench is getting Josh Hart.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing stuff. That's it.
Okay. Appreciate the call, man. Appreciate the call, sir. Yeah, I mean, I think I'll speak for the chat and say, do you getting tomatoes for that, man? I got to get to lunch soon. We got to get our guest in. But they're not doing that, man. Does anybody see what Josh Hart is doing right now? I mean, Josh Hart is balling out of control right now, man. Mr. Lost is playing very well in the starting five. We just talked about how well the starting five is playing. That's Josh Hart. I talked about Jalen Brunson at 7.3 assists. Oh, guess who's having a career high in assists right now? Josh Hart, 5.9. That's your second point guard out there. I don't think the returns are going to be all that great by just throwing Precious Achiuwa out there to as compared to putting Josh Hart on the bench. I just don't see it. But people in the chat, he asked what you thought. So this is your show. You be the judge, man. I'm just the conductor here. I'm texting my guest right now. Sent you the link, man. We got to jump in. We got to get him up. He's got to cam up. I was getting ready to wrap the show up in a little bit and get to lunch. But I got a special guest coming through, man. He wants to chop it up with the fans. We're talking Knicks right now. Josh Hart is balling right now, man. I mean, I just love how the guy's playing. I told y'all, man, he does not need much time to ramp up and get adjusted. He is Mr. Team Player. These are guys that you need on a championship team. You need glue guys. Guys that can do the dirty work. So, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who starts, who finishes, because at the end of the day, Josh Hart is going to finish every game. So even to have Precious out there start, like that, the start doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And the starters are smoking people right now. And my Josh Hart highlights are a little smaller. Let me get that in there, man. Let's get that in there. So to everybody in the chat, once again, let me fix my Hart highlights, man. Make sure that's getting proper respect. Waiting on my my guest here. Let me get these Josh highlights cracking. There we go. Josh Hart against Phoenix. What do you have, like 15, 9, and 9? You're just killing him. Let's see what IG has to say. Josh Hart is the biggest steal in trade history that we gave up. The steal of the century. Harris fam, absolutely. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it in our own video on that. A solo video on Hart. All right, wait on my guest to come through. But while we wait on him, how about this, man? Hubie Brown gonna hang it up after this season. They're giving Hubie Brown one more game, and then he's calling it a career. 91 years old. Shout out to Hubie Brown. Once a Knick, always a Knick. Spent 5 seasons as the head coach of the New York Knickerbockers. Bernard King. The 80s. Oh, my 80s Knicks fans, what's the deal? 40 years calling games. I mean, this was a basketball lifer, man. Shout out to Hubie Brown. We got to put some respect on his name. And I hope, I don't know what the Knicks national schedule is going to be on ESPN, but I do hope that his last game is on ESPN. And hopefully it's a game that's going to be at Madison Square Garden. So that, because the intention is to give him his flowers. So when they do, I hope it is in front of the Garden floor. I think it only makes sense to do that. Shout out to Hubie Brown, man. And once again, rest in peace to his son, Brendan Brown, friend of the program. We just recently lost Brendan just a couple of weeks ago. And I thank God I had the honor of working with him on Ian Begley's show on the Putback 2 times. He's a guy that I always wanted to have on the show because him and Hubie, man, I mean, when you talk about basketball lifers, you talk about knowledge of the game, you always learn something from the two of them when they were calling the games. That's one thing about Hubie Brown. Like, a lot of the color analysts have a brand to them, have a brand to how they call the game. Like, something that you come to know them by. Hubie Brown, his brand was more just like, just calling it, just teaching. Just calling the game and teaching like a coach. He had that coach's vision when he was calling the game. You know, nothing stylish, nothing fancy, but he's breaking it down for you, man. The key plays. That's why I love Hubie Brown calling games, man. So I hope his last one is with the Knicks on a ESPN national TV game at Madison Square Garden. I really hope it is. All right, my guest is running a little bit late, so we might not have him today, but maybe we'll get him on Sunday. Starberry's running a little bit late. Elahoma Free says, I learned the game from Hubie commentary. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So it's just, it sucks, man. You know, nothing good lasts forever, unfortunately, man. But, you know, we're just losing so many legends. Legends of the game. Hubie Brown, 91 years old. Salute to him on a remarkable career. 52 years in the game as a head coach and broadcaster. Beautiful career. So salute to Hubie Brown. All right, what else we got here? So they're chopping up the All-Star game again. Did you guys hear this one? They are chopping up the All-Star game and doing it a little bit differently. Let me know what you guys think about this one. What's Sham saying? Paul George, bone bruising his left knees out next 2 games. Okay, whatever. All right. So the All-Star game. They are switching it up. And trying to get my screen popping here. So they're going to do 4 teams in the All-Star game instead of the 2-on-2. 4-team style NBA All-Star game, according to Shams. 2 semifinal games up to 40 points. The winners advance. The final game up to 25 points. Quick burst competition, pickup, B-ball style. What do we think, man? Popo in the IG says the All-Star game is cooked. So they went from traditional East-West to let's do the draft to let's do the draft with the Elam ending. Let's do the captains, conference list. Now we're going to chop it up into a 4-team tournament style, into 2 semifinal games. I mean, when will the NBA get the clue? It's not about the style of the game. It's about the product itself. The players don't want to play hard in the game, period. Period. I don't matter. You know, I've been advocating for a King of the Court style tournament for years now. The best of the best. Put the talk aside and let the best of the best shoot the fair one. Let me see LeBron versus KD one-on-one. Halliburton versus Brunson. Like, that's what we need. But at the end of the day, the players are not going to go hard. It doesn't matter what you do to spice up the game. They don't play hard. The All-Star game is about the marketing, the brand, and just the overall business of basketball. It is a convention. It is a meetup, and that's it. The players make the team. They get their All-Star bonus. Good for them. But they're looking to have fun during the weekend, party it up, go to the branded parties, go to the Gatorade party and the DraftKings party and the TikTok party and whatever it is. Nobody wants to play the game. So at the end of the day, it does not matter what you do with it. They needed the king of the court. King of the court, man. Let me see Luka versus, let me see the Embiid versus Jokic matchup. Battle of the MVPs. These guys don't want to play. You already have the issue with the load management. How many stars we got right now on the shelf right now? The load management requirements, the debacle in Philadelphia, these guys making a mockery of the game. It's embarrassing. the USA versus the world, that's not even going to matter. It won't matter. The style of the game won't matter. These guys do not go hard anymore. It's over. It's over. The love of the game has been taken over by capitalism. At the end of the day, that's just what it is. Unfortunately. The legends of yesteryear, they played with pride. There was still pride there. That is why you had rivalries. That is why you had real beef. That is why to this day, Isaiah and Jordan and them don't even talk. Legends of the game. Bigger egos, man. Guys that really wanted to be the best. They wanted to ball out at the All-Star game because that was their chance where they say, okay, the media and the fans, they saying this guy's better than me. That is when the guys wanted to go out there and show it. The All-Star game died when basically at like the Kobe was like the cutoff. That was it. That last couple of years of Kobe's reign. That was it. It's over, man. They're not competitive anymore. But we're going to continue this conversation. Steph is running late, and I want to talk to Steph about that because that is a guy who understood the competitive nature of the game. They just, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The style of the game. These guys are just not hungry anymore. That is why, on All-Star Weekend, I still, because of how much I loved the game back in the 90s, especially All-Star games in the 90s, I still watch All-Star Weekend just from a nostalgia standpoint and just from a tradition standpoint. But the dunk contest is going to be trash. I still watch it. But honestly, the best part of that weekend to me is now the Rising Stars Challenge, which was formerly the rookie game, because they still play hard. I mean, the rookie game has produced more memorable moments or more enjoyable basketball than the regular game has, and that's been for a number of years now. It is the worst All-Star game right now. It just is what it is, man. It just is what it is. So that was that on the All-Star game. Let me know what you guys think about that one. And then the last one is, which is interesting, saying DiVincenzo potential trade candidate. Yeah, I'm looking at NBA Central right now. The last one here is, this is according to Brian Windhorst. Rival executives believe the NBA could eliminate conferences and have the top 16 teams make the playoffs when the league expands to 32 teams. Says instead of dealing with that thorny competition, West executives told ESPN that they believe both issues can be corrected by dropping conferences altogether and seeding it 1 through 16 regardless of geography. Concept has been raised before, but expansion, the thinking goes, will create reason to take a fresh look. What do you guys think about that? Conference-less playoffs. I don't know, man. I'm not really a big fan of that. Would it spice up the game? They're complaining about the ratings suffering, yada, yada. Would that spice it up? You see a Knicks versus Celtics in the championship? I don't think so. I'm old school, man. Papo, leave it East and West. I'm old school, man. I'm leaving it East and West. Let me see the Knicks and the Lakers. I'm just old school, man. I like East and West. They're complaining the East is weak, the East is soft. The Celtics just won the championship, man. I don't buy that East is weak, East is soft. I don't see a dominant team in the West like that. Anybody can get knocked off. especially in the West. I mean, look, OKC's good. Timberwolves are okay. Denver's okay. Like, I don't see just a powerhouse out West that can't be toppled. Sure, the West has a lot more competition. There are a lot more competitive teams. No one's arguing that. But to me, that doesn't change the lack of ratings and the viewership numbers declining. That doesn't change that. And they're trying. They're trying everything. They put the in-season tournament. You got NBA Cup, switching up the All-Star game, expanding the teams. You're going to go to 32 teams, probably Seattle and Las Vegas. Maybe you move Memphis to the east or New Orleans to the east. Yeah, I like East versus West, man. But, look, every commissioner, every regime in sports is going to look to continue to monetize and capitalize on the product and grow the product, grow the game. That ain't it. That's just not it. So we'll just see, man. Look, attention spans are getting a lot shorter. Younger generation ain't really watching games like that. They're on the House of Highlights. They're on the TikToks and all of that. They're just getting rapid fire, rapid fire, rapid fire. This is the real generation, man. We want an instant. We want to be able to multitask to 100 different things and then tap in on a game. Gambit the Barges League just needs to give us outdoor games. They should do at least one. That'll be the next one in like Abu Dhabi or something. They're going to do one on like an aircraft carrier or something. John Pettit, franchise channel member, salute to you, says last of the real players was Kobe. Now that LeBum is there, game went down the drain. Overpaid, unprofessional, and too soft. I blame Silver and LeBum. It's a high-stakes game, man. It's a money-making game. Both the teams and the player are trying to make sure that the player gets back from the All-Star game unscathed. I understand it on one end, but it's a crappy product. How do you sell the fans on that? Who wants to buy a ticket to the All-Star game? I'm at the point where, me personally, you couldn't give me a ticket to go there. It's not appealing. If I go to All-Star Weekend, I'm going to attend the events, to network, to build business, yada, yada. But the game is like last in the priority list. Because you just know you're going to see guys throwing it off the backboard from half court. What was last year? Yeah, what was it last year with Giannis? Giannis is out there with a taped up wrist, does one play, does like one spin dunk move, and then sits out the rest of the game. Like, it's just that type of nonsense, man. It's just that type of thing that we're dealing with here. So, just one of those things, man. At the end of the day, capitalism changes things as we evolve and as we go through time. Just going through my notes here, making sure I covered off everything I wanted to talk about today, man. Great show. Great show, everybody, man. What's everybody doing this weekend? The Hawk is out here in New York. It's one of those days, man. I throw a jacket on, a hoodie on. Get ready, man. Speaking of hoodies, man, get your hoodies, shop.KnicksFanTV.com. We here. Yeah, man. Rhythm and Flavor says, I want highlights and your show. I ain't got time for hyperbole and click takes. Oh, I appreciate that, man. That's just what we do, man. Number one show for the fans, by the fans. We just here to serve the people, man. And provide a platform that the people can get behind and be proud of. That's all. We don't try to do too much, man. Yeah. And speaking of which, on that take, this was an interesting take by one Rich Kleiman, CEO of the Boardroom. That's KD's partner, KD's brand, and ultimately his manager, business partner, I believe. And Rich Kleiman, also a Knicks fan. And this is what Rich Kleiman had to say on the state of sports media. He said, with so much hate and negativity in the world today, it confuses me why some of national sports media still think that the best way to cover sports is through negative takes. We can all acknowledge that sports is the last part of society that universally brings people together. So why can't the coverage do the same? It's only clickbait when you say it. When the platform is so big, you can make the change and allows us all an escape from real-life negativity. I, for one, find it all a waste of breath. The Olympics and JJ and Bron show us the future of what this can be and should all be. What do you guys think about Rich Kleiman's comments there? I think he's spot on. You know, his tweet is essentially why we created this platform 8 years ago on KnicksFanTV. You know, why I started this platform was just because the national media takes and coverage of the team was getting stale. I didn't believe that the local media coverage of the team was adequate. You know, you guys see the clip out there that's out right now. Shout out to my guy John Lobriel and the last Flight Out podcast. And I said it, you know, local media. Yeah, you get post-game show, and right after that, you get Giants Yearbook, Westminster Dog Show. But what about the fans, man? What about the lifeblood of the sport? The fans want to tap in and have their opinions heard. We want to come together as a community and talk about the team. Win, lose, or draw. So I definitely agree with Rich's take, and it is why KFTV exists and is continuing to grow. We appreciate the support from the fans. But I also think that there's a lane for every type of content. There's a lane for everybody. So you have your national media stuff, and that's more, you know, high-level entertainment, hot takes. You know, First Take, whether you like it or not, still draws record ratings. So clearly there's an audience, right? There is an audience for it, and they're trying to serve those people. For me, it's not for me. I don't tap in with it. To me, it's a waste of time for me, so I don't watch. It's not nothing against those people. I like those people. But I don't watch. But people do. You know, we serve our hardcore Knicks fans. These are the people that are tapping in. These are the people that we serve. Some people don't rock with it. That's okay too. So there's a lane for everybody. The players have jumped into the mix with their podcasts and stuff like that. There's a lane for that. You know, they have an advantage from a storytelling standpoint that we can't tap into. We don't come from experience in playing the game and having those locker room stories. So the players have that lane. So the point is that you consume what you want to consume, you know, and support those that you want to support. And there's a lane for everybody. But for us, man, we're just going to continue rocking as the number one show. For the fans, by the fans. Great show, everybody, man. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. IG, I'm going to be back on IG, man. I like these IG lives. So I got, you know, the whole setup here, tapping in on YouTube, Facebook, but then I got the IG on a separate vertical feed here. So that's just what's up. Shout out to IG. Hopefully you guys have a great weekend. Remember to tap in with us tomorrow for the pregame show, Knicks versus Jazz pregame show. We'll be live at around 4:45. Me and CK2K. We're going to do our fantasy draft, and he's going to take you through the whole game play-by-play. Make sure you guys tap into that. And then we'll be live for postgame, man. Number one show for the fans, by the fans. Somebody, I forgot which caller was asking when the next watch party is going to be. The next watch party is going to be January 3rd. Knicks at Thunder, January 3rd, 8 p.m. at Clinton Hall. So look out for the announcement. We'll have more announcements after the holidays, obviously. But the next two will be at Clinton Hall, and it will be against the Thunder. Friday, January 3rd at 8 p.m. And then the Thunder come to town on January 10th. iHeart and the Thunder come to town January 10th. And we'll be at Clinton Hall for that as well, man. So make sure you guys pull up to that, and we'll have a good time, man. We will have a good time. Remember to support our sponsors, man. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use our code KFTV for a bonus deposit of up to $1,000. Go to Underdog Fantasy, pick between 2 to 8 players, and just predict whether or not they're going to go higher or lower than the given stat projection of the night. It's that simple, man. So once again, salute to our guys at Underdog Fantasy. And that's that, man. Yeah, Starberry running late, man. So we're going to keep it pushing. I'm starving. I got to eat something. So we'll reconnect with Starberry maybe on Sunday and see what's good with that. All right? Remember that the show is also available in audio podcast format. No, man, no reason to miss it. If you did miss it, just remember to tap in, Apple Podcast, Spotify, whatever it is. And if you missed today's live, salute to the replay gang, man. YouTube.com/KnicksFanTV. We out of here, people. Peace. Stay blessed.